By the way, jippreżenta Gabriel Lija.
Jena Gabriel Lija nilqakom għal program By the way, l-Olimpjadi. Mhux se niddiskutu l-kontroversja tal-ftuħ tal-Olimpjadi dwar minn kien hemm li kienet qed ixxebbaħ l-aħħar ċena biex niftehmu għax jkun l-aħħar program li mhux vert niċċajtaw sewwa. Lanqas jekk iċriki tal-Olimpjadi u mhix posthom ma' Torri Eiffel kif kien hemm il-kontroversja kif kien hemm inqal, imma se niċċelebraw fil-programm tal-lum it-talent żagħżugħ, it-talent Malti u t-talent sportiv għaliex miegħi bi pjaċir nista' ngħid illi fl-istudju għandi l-erba' atleti Maltin tal-Olimpjadi illi marru jirrappreżentawna. Għandi miegħi lil Beppe fl-atletika, Beppe illi m'għamilx bħal komplement ta' sħabu ġib il-flok ta' Nirvana, tajjeb.
No one told me.
Jiena tilkom jekk tridu tiġu bil-ger fidejkom sewa. Għandna lil Gianluca f'dak li hu sparar. Għandna wkoll lil Sasha u Sasha. Għarra, sibdan ħawat. Li ħafna probabbilment jafu għadik li spiċċat berat il-Covid, miskina. U għandna wkoll ġifieri qawm tajjeb biex nitkellmu fuq id-disciplina u lil Kylie u Katrina, sorry. Ma bdejt inħawat għax tiġrili għedin inħawat biex. Għedin d-disciplina tiegħek, aħjar nitkellem Judo, il-art nidaqqa taqsamni. Issa jena nemmen ħafna drabi nisimgħu dwarkom l-atleti qabel tmorru, imma sfortunatament meta la darba tiġu lura ftit nisimgħu dwarkom. U meta qed nagħmlu dan il-programm nistgħu ngħidu din l-ewwel darba li intom qegħdin l-erba' li intom f'kamra waħda għall-intervista wara l-eżidu tal-Olimpjadi. U ta' min nitkellmu dwarkom biex niskopru it-traġitt tagħkom fl-isport minn fejn ġie jekk ilkomx familja fl-isport. U naħseb żgur ħatkunu ta' ispirazzjoni għal ħafna żgħażagħ illi jkunu qed insegwu dan il-programm, dawk probabbilment ukoll illi qatt ma ħolmu fl-isport jaf illum tiftulhom bib u jibdew jaraw l-isport b'mod differenti. Ħanibda minnek jiena. Gianluca, inti l-isparar missirek fil-kaċċa jew hekk kif bdejt?
Xejn minn dak. Jiena fil-fatt naħseb nistgħu ngħidu li outlier għal dan l-isport għaliex.
Spjegana x'inhi outlier.
Le jiena ħobb ngħidu sa dik il-kelma għaliex jiena ma trabbejt familja tal-isportivi wis inqas familja li jħobbu l-isparar jew jiġu familja mal-kaċċa jew kwalunkwe tip ta' sport jew passatemp fuq dawk il-linji. Fi klim qasija konna prattika l-futbol ta' żgħira, però ma kont tajjeb xejn fih u ma kont nħobb xejn. Kont immur biex ngħid qed nipprattika l-futbol imma kont nipprefer kieku qiegħed id-dar. Għamilt hekk għal 3 snin sħaħ, ma flaħx iżjed wara 3 snin. U missieru ommi dejjem jippruvaw jgħinuni jaraw x'jistgħu jagħmlu biex jtuni l-aħjar ħajja li nista'. Għallu li x'tixtieq tagħmel Gianluca, u għedtilhom sparar jien, bla ma kont naf x'inhu sparar. Ma għas kon nafx involvi xejn. Ma ħassejt qed trid nagħmel sport.
Ma kontx tara xi films ta' sparar jew.
Nistgħu ngħidu kont naraw naqa' films u bejn naqa' PlayStation dak iż-żmien, imma jien qas kont nobsor x'inhu dan l-isport, battu u fajjar ta' jien sparar jien. U dan baqgħu jħarsu lejja. Eżatt, preċiż. U ommi mhux ibqa' jħarsu lejja tipo sparar minn fejn ġid il-kelma u minn fejn.
Għax laqtek.
Xlaqatni. U vera xlaqatni. Imma minn hawn għamlu dak kollu li setgħu biex jfittxu jaraw x'involvi. Dak iż-żmien kelli 12 sena. Il-liġu ta' Malta kienet tgħid li tibda dal-isport 14 sena. Ġifieri għamlu sentejn iċċekkjaw x'in saru jafu x'rid isiru mal-pulizija u mal-liġi u mar-range tal-bidnija biex xi ħadd barrani għal dal-isport li qas ikun jaf x'ħajibda jagħmel. Ċekkjaw kemm li ngħidlek ġimgħa li għalaqt 14 sena kont qed hemmhekk nispara l-ewwel darba u ma ħares lura qatt minn dak in-nhar l-ewwel.
U wasal tal-Olimpjadi.
Wasal tal-Olimpjadi. Ma sax ngħid laqat ma ħlom ta' dejjem kienet il-ħolma tiegħi. Mill-ewwel ġurnata li kont hemm qed kieku nista' nasal l-Olimpjadi. Imma qatt ma konna bsori nasal kif wasalt. Għaliex proprjament 12 sena roller coaster.
Issa nitkellmu dwar din il-roller coaster tajjeb. Beppi ħandur naqa' fuqek. Jiena ħan nisfidak mill-ewwel la inti ma ġejx bil-ger u rina l-unika ħaġa li għandek fuqek illi għandek taqsam mal-Olimpjadi. Ħażidilna l-view sejja.
Ma it's gonna get a little 18 plus.
Ma jimportax ejja. Tajjeb.
That's all.
Ġifieri xi
That's the only thing.
Għal min tisegwina fuq ir-radju olla l-flok tajjeb orina li għamel tatu ta' ċriki tal-Olimpjadi. M'għandux it-Torri Eiffel fuq wara, ġast nagħmilhom waħedhom. Din xi tradizzjoni l-atleti meta jiġu lura jagħmlu tatu.
I have it from Tokyo.
Okay.
I got over here on my back.
La mux ħan nisaqsuk tajb.
Le, no.
Inti, Katrina,
Le, sis m'għandix.
ma titħajjer tamela?
I'm trying to encourage her to do it.
Għaw, ixu ta' pre-pressure mux ħan idħol fija?
Ifhem, hemm atleti wkoll li jagħmluha waqt li jkunu qegħdin minn hemmhekk stess. So jsibu tattoo artist minn hemm u jmorru jagħmlu iċ-ċrieki hemm ħalli tkun iktar like, okay, daw għamilthom hemm ukoll.
Tal-avveniment.
Sewa. U inti weġġajt biex għamiltom?
Ija. Ribs is tough.
That
Very
right
tough.
there is all the encouragement I need not to get a tattoo.
No,
Mela,
just get it somewhere else.
Mux
You get
ħan
enough pain in your sport, you're used to it.
Mux ħan idħlu fuq għandek x'tagħmel tatu jew le tajjeb ħalli nitbedu mill-kontroversi. So, Kyle nibqgħu fuq l-awm jekk mir fejn ġiet, kien hemm xi ħadd jgħalmi jekk ta' aspirazzjoni.
Awm,
Le, you know.
Ma doffi tħawwad.
Tħawwad.
L-atletika.
qed ħawwaġ min.
Ejja tinħawwad.
Le, I used to do...
Beppe.
Tajjeb. I used to do football, like most boys. U kon nitrejnja ma l-fgura, u dak iż-żmien ma tantx konna tajbin, fil-verità. So I always would give my utmost every game, you know, every game, always losing. U mbagħad qabżitli qed if I'm going to give my utmost, might as well win when I win and lose when I lose, you know. But when I win, I want to win. So I found an individual sport and I was always, you know, one of the fastest ones on the pitch. So from then on, I started slowly getting into athletics, having some years on, years off, tipo. But now it's like a stable kind of, not even career, I mean, it's obviously not a career, but it's a stable kind of thing in my life.
Ġifieri kemm ilek fl-atletika issa?
I started when I was 14. So 14 għamil dak is-switch bej football and athletics. Then I took 2 years off because I got bored of it. Taf kif tagħmel tkun żgħar, something doesn't excite you for a bit, you give up. And then so after my A-levels, there was a bit of a kind of void of not doing something that was like progressive. And I started athletics again, which now has been 3, almost 4 years in athletics.
Ġirja waħda biex nibqgħu mal-pans tajjeb.
Eżatt.
Ħandur fuqek issa,
Okay.
fuq l-awm, ħalli
Yeah.
nkun korrett.
Correct.
Inti, minn fejn ġiet li mħabba tiegħek għall-awm?
Basically, my parents always wanted me to learn how to swim, because Malta, it's a natural that's surrounded by the sea, so I had to learn how to swim one way or another. And I just used to go for lessons, and I was always the first one in, the last one out. You know, kids like to cry before they jump in. I loved it so much. And they always saw that I always loved the water, and I was a passion for it. I just continued going.
Ġifieri kellek hekk xi nickname ta' Sirena?
No.
Mhux
Semma wasalniex aha. I just used to love the water so much that I kept on swimming and going to training, and then I kept on progressing, obviously, from club to club and groups and so on.
U kien hemm xi ħadd partikolari hekk li kien jgħalmek reċentament intervistajt in-nira ġus u saqsejtilu dijek kien hemm xi ħadd jew sempliċement pass naturali.
At the time, not really. It was just instilled in me just as I love swimming so much. But now have been with my coach for about 5 years, one-to-one training. His name's Kat and Katalin. Mux Kat.
Kif kont ngħidlek?
Yes, no, because people went to mix up.
Jifhem Malti?
No, he's
Alright,
Romanian.
mela nista' nikkommenta li mhux vera. ċajta.
No, and I mean, he just keeps me going now. Obviously, when you get older, it gets harder. But I'm really happy.
Kont immaġinak li ħatasal sal-Olimpjadi?
Yes, I mean, it was always my dream. And I was always progressing, breaking national records, because I broke my first national record at 13. It was
U
very
x'kien
young.
ir-rekord?
It was 800 freestyle, long course. So, everyone saw it like a big deal.
Ta' 13 tikser rekord, fimni. Jien xi siqen ikser kieku.
Exactly, so I just kept on training and kept on working hard, and at 16 I went to Tokyo. Bat Parigi.
Nista' nitkellmu nafu d-differenza wkoll rajt bej l-ewwel edizzjoni u mbagħad l-edizzjoni li jmiss. Ħandur fuqek issa. Tajjeb, inti min-naħa tiegħek hekk tħoss li spiċċajt f'dan l-isport.
Well, I started judo when I was 3 years old, primarily because my father was my coach. So he helped to found the club, and he obviously brought me and my brother into the sport. So I had kind of started training judo when I was 3, but it was more like once a week, just for fun. And when I was younger, actually, rather than judo, I was more focused on sailing. So up until the age of 16, I had gone to European Championships and World Championships for sailing in a completely different sport. Then I kind of stopped over A levels, and then back in 2019 I got back into judo, and since then I've been training full time.
Issa di forse mistoqsija li saqsuk ħafna tajjeb. Naf li mhux suppost imma forsi nikxu ftit sigreti. Ġieli pratikajt il-judo mhux fi sport.
No.
Għas tista' taħseb tgħid kieku le?
No, I mean, you can do it, yes, but no. One of the things you learn about judo is a lot of respect, and you know that, I mean, obviously if somebody were to attack me in the street, to a certain extent I can defend myself, but thankfully I've never been in that situation. And one of the things you learn is like, you use it in a safe way and responsibly, not just for fun.
Ġalluka, kif tħoss li kienet l-esperjenza b'mod ġenerali tal-Olimpjadi? Ġidan, immaġina jien m'għandix idea ta' kif jaħdmu daw, ġidan inti tkun ilek taf isek li ħadd intażel jew li sejjer jew tirċievi xi telefonata isma' inti intażilt għal Pariġi, kif taħdem?
L-ewwel l-esperjenza kienet totalment sta deskrivija, ma nipprova niddeskrivija ngħidlek il-verità. Jiena fil-każ tiegħi qed nitkellem ukoll jiena differenti mill-oħrajn għaliex sparar ma kienx Pariġi, kien 4 sigħat il-bogħod. L-esperjenza tiegħi fil-lob tal-Olimpjadi dejjem ikun ridott, diminuita, xi minn flok inkun fil-Olympic Village li huwa post fenomenali li fatt li tkun hemmhekk kieku. Madwar dawk l-atleti kollha jiena kont l-istess ħaġa ma fuq skala żgħira.
Fejn kontu ġifieri?
Jiena kont xatero 4 sigħat isfel kważi fin-nofs ta' Franza. Maqtuwajna lina, ġifieri konna mit-tiratur li huma tal-disciplini kollha kienu għalihom ospitati il-bot minn kulħadd fejn hemm shooting range nazzjonali ta' Franza. Ġifieri huma ddeċidew għall-Olimpjadi li minflok li sparar isir Pariġi, isir John Offs Franza. Mhux is-sports tagħna biss naf li anke sailing jidhirli jidhirli futbol ukoll isir f'diversi stadiums madwar Franza u naf li anke surfing kien Tahiti, ġifieri ġo gżira diplomatic region ta' Franza. Ġifieri
U tħoss li affettwatek imma li kont il-bot
Min-naħa tajjeb għaliex tkun iktar f'ambjent forsi inqas distractions iktar konċentrat iktar għalik, però mill-aspett li tmuru tgħix Olimpjadi hija żvantaġġ għax jien ma jkollix eżempju ċans li pal sħabi hawnhekk li mmur barra u jkun hemm dawk il-blokok kollha ta' atleti tqum filgħodu fil-breakfast hall taqa' ma' kull tip ta' atleti taqa' ma' superstars tad-dinja. I mean, alright, jien għandi l-idoli u l-sportivi tal-isparar, imma dawn huma l-istess nies jien taqa' magħhom 4 darbit 5 darbit fis-sena għaliex l-istess tiraturi li nkunu fil-competitions ta' madwar id-dinja li taqgħu fl-Olimpjadi. Il-livell huwa l-istess nistgħu ngħidu. Menti naħseb tkun fl-Olimpjadi ħanfajjar sport, pereżempju, nkun sport tal-atletika. Forsi mhux dejjem ikolli ċans li niġri mat-top 10 tad-dinja, allura tkun hemmhekk u tgħid issa nista' niltaqa' miegħu waqt li tikol xi ħaġa ħalli mhux ħaddejjew probabbli qasi irid ikellmek dak iż-żmien imma naħseb hija xi ħaġa.
Ifhem jikkellmuni tnejn tassa forsi
Fajliet kienu?
Le.
Ħsibt li provajt tabbi.
Le, ma sax.
Ma tistax.
Għambit fajla.
Ħsibtek ħabba xi regoli tal-Olimpjadi jiena.
Le. Ifhem, they're not so strict on that.
Mhux bħal futbol.
Le.
Alright, nifqu hemm kompli ġalluka.
Mbagħad il-bqija biex wasalt sal-Olimpjadi kont vera viċin darbtejn. F'Marzu April li għadda kellna competition the final Olympic qualification fejn partiċipajna t-tiraturi kollha tad-dinja kważi konna l-aħjar 150 għall-aħħar ġiex postijiet fl-Olimpjadi. Bdejt ħażin l-ewwel round, nisparaw fuq 3 ijiem, l-ewwel round tlift 3 mill-aħħar 5 plattini, issa jew nolqothom kollha li fadal fuq jumejn jew inkella nista' ndabbar rasi. U minn hawn minna xi noqothom kollha għamilt 100 minn 100 fuq jumejn oħra.
100 fuq 100.
100 minn 100 plattini. U insomma qed kollox ġej għalija. Wasalt sal-finali nispiċċa raba post. Ġejtek xiber imnieħer il-bot mill-podium kieku l-podium kien kolli post dirett għall-Olimpjadi. Ma ġejt ir-raba post u l-Kumitat Olimpiku Malti japplika għal dak li ngħidu tripartite fejn atleti li jkunu ġew vera viċin li kwalifikaw għall-Olimpjadi imma xi żbrix ma jkunux għamluha jitfgħu applikazzjoni mal-Kumitat Olimpiku Internazzjonali. Dawn imbagħad jagħmlu il-checks and measures tagħhom kollha jibdew jaraw l-atleti kollha u jaraw min ħaqqu l-aħħar post. U fil-fatt ġejt motti għalili, ġvini kwalifikajt mill-Kumitat Olimpiku Internazzjonali għax raw li r-riżultati tiegħi kienu tajbin biex on any other day. Kont nidħol dakinhar Għazbrix,
Għal
ma
Zbrix,
tħallġ wara dak
Zbrix.
is-sagrifiċċju u impenn kollu. So tħalt Olimpjadi u fil-fatt sirt naf xi xahar qabel, xahar u nofs qabel.
Ġifieri jekk, malaj.
Ta' malaj, menti atleti oħrajn li jkunu kwalifikaw qabel li jkunu laħqu kwalifikaw, jkunu laħqu għallet għallu jina l-Olimpjadi u jirħu jagħmlu it-tatu jekk hemm bżonn. Tifhem?
U li tagħmilha wara, mela. Naħseb jien ma nafx nsa, inti x'għamilt meta mort?
Le, wara,
Qabel?
wara.
Wara, okej.
Le, ma
Għax kont ħanasa għal bżonn. Beppe, kif kienet l-esperjenza tiegħek?
From like Gianluca said, overwhelming, nice, everything like you expect it to be.
Ma minn il-tqajt fil-breakfast.
Fil-breakfast, fil-breakfast għajnejja kunu għadhom naqamaluqin, ma nibda nara l-ħadd. Imma le, I saw some big names. Li saw from track and field, Noah Lyles, I don't know if anyone's going to know these guys, imma he's pretty big right now. Christian Coleman, Fred Curley, Grant Holloway, so like I can go off on a tangent, just naming the amount of people I saw. So yes, it was like seeing your idols, you know. Surreal, even going to the track to train before the race, running with them, you know. I was doing block starts near the 200-meter Olympic champion now.
Kif tħossak?
If you not intimidated because you're there, you know. Of course you're not at their level, but you're pretty damn close. So you can't be intimidated, because if you're intimidated, you're going there just to be an extra. I mean, even though maybe sometimes you end up being that extra, you can't have that mentality. So you can't let it get to your head and get intimidated. You know, show respect to your peers, the ones above you. But it was really nice.
Għandur fuqek, Katrina. Inti kif kienet l-esperjenza tiegħek?
My experience was also a bit of a roller coaster. The qualification period in judo is the 6 best results of the year before and the 6 best results of the year before that. So 3 Olympics and 2 years ago.
Qabel ħafna.
It starts like 2 years
Okay.
ahead and you have 12 best results taken. Unfortunately, back in September last year, I had to have an operation on my ACL. So I had ACL reconstruction surgery. And so that's, even though I was in a very good position, I was in the top 50 in the world and I was building up to qualify. Unfortunately, that set me back a bit.
Kif ħassejtek emozjonalment? Taf li qiegħda ma laqwa 50, imma tittamel din l-operazzjoni u ħaxxeklek.
Oh, it was honestly, it was a terrible period in time because all I could do was sit back and just see my world ranking drop. And I couldn't do anything about it except try to recover as fast as possible. And to those who actually know, ACL recovery takes around a year for around 80% of the athletes to return to sport. So to start practicing at the same intensity that they were. But I had to be back competing after 6 months. So
Ħafna ġieħ.
not really, no.
Imagine,
It was a lot of a mental battle more than anything, because I had to be mentally strong to say, okay, you're slightly at a disadvantage now because everyone else is training and improving and getting those points, and
Okay.
you're stuck behind. So you're going to have to be better in your recovery and do everything you possibly can to recover as fast as you can, to get back to where you were, to start competing again. So again, similar to what my peers have said before, I mean, like overall it was a great experience, but this kind of was like a bit of a dark cloud for me throughout the qualification period, which then left me behind trying to catch up to where I was. And although I did come close, unfortunately, I didn't manage to qualify outright. But like Gianluca, I was able to get the tripartite. So again, to know that I was still up there, and even by the International Olympic Committee standards and MOC standards, I'm one of the better athletes who could possibly have qualified in another situation, that gives me a form of satisfaction.
Ekku. U reżiljenza anki perseveranza mentali, kif qed tajjeb inti li ma qtajtx qalbek u komplejt
Eżatt.
għaddejja. Sasha, inti fil-każ tiegħek.
For-
Ħajbdew ta' Tokyo sewa,
Okay. Tokyo was a bit strange because obviously COVID, a lot of restrictions. You can't go to watch different sports. You have to stay, in the village. You have to do a spit test every morning for
Kull jum.
COVID. Some athletes that have the competition day, they spit and they call them, you have COVID, you have to go back to your room. Isolation, you cannot compete. And imagine, you go travel all the way to Tokyo, not to get to compete. Kbira. Insomma, thankfully over there I didn't get COVID. Imma.
Imma, fl-aqwa tal-Covid ġifieri frankajta.
Eżatt. And I mean, Paris was beautiful. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I saw all my idols, like as they said. I mean, I was in the bus next to my idol, Katie Ledecky. She's the world record holder in my event. So I've always looked up to her. And the fact I was next to her. I tried to, but she's very quite reserved. So I didn't want to like bother her or anything.
Ma ħadx ritrat jew hekk minn taħt laqas.
No, after the competition was over, yes. So I have a photo on my phone. But all in all, I mean, I was really devastated after. I woke up feeling already like under the weather, but I was like, it's nothing, you know, I'm just nervous. It will pass. I went for the warm-up. I was finding it a bit hard to breathe. My coach was asking me, is everything okay? I'm like, yes, everything's good. I went for the race. I was in the call room, and I was still finding it hard to breathe. I was like, they must normally. And obviously, when you're out there and the whole stadium's full of people, it was a really big stadium, everyone cheering or whatever.
U inti taqta' nifsek.
I was like, iktar deċtata and I'm like, I'm gonna go for my race the best I can, and whatever happens, happens. But obviously I didn't know I had COVID. Insomma, I'm doing, 1,500 is a very long race, not actually 200 meter. It's 1,500. So by that day, obviously, I was falling more and more behind. I was like, laqwari nasal, and I don't swallow any water. If I swallowed water, I'm sure it has stopped. So here I don't get embarrassed and I just finish the race. Tlajt mill-ilma, and I'm like almost hyperventilating. There was Sandro Mikallef at the back of the pool. He's like, is everything okay? And I just started crying. I was like, no, I'm not okay. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm embarrassed. I'm a failure. I want to quit. Dak
il-ħin inti jekk bdejt tħossok.
Yes, I'm to quit. That's it. I'm done. I'm going home.
Swimming għal dejjem.
Yes, mela, that's it. I was finished completely. Because you sacrifice so much for one moment. I was training from Tokyo till Paris only to try qualify and so on. And I end up having all these issues of breathing. It's really unlucky. So then I went to my coach. I'm like, listen, I wasn't feeling well. I don't know what happened to me. Yes, I realized something was wrong. I didn't want to tell you to make you more nervous. He told me, let's go do a COVID test. I think you're not like you're sick. We went back to the polyclinic and I tested positive. So, Dr. Becky, Dr. Shenati, and so on.
But I mean, that itself is resilience, because to swim 1,500 meters, not being able to breathe.
But everyone says the same thing, but like, you have only one moment to show. Other swimmers have multiple races. I had only one. And I beg that one ġetni ħażina. Insomma.
U taħseb li kemm aktar opportunitajiet?
Like in the future? Possibly. Although I'm saying I wanted to quit completely. I wasn't even gonna start this year swimming, but I got a lot of help from my parents and my coach and a lot of positive talk and self-bora. And I continued.
Ġifieri kellek bżonn min jikkonvinġik isma' il-fatt li inti kellek COVID u l-prestazzjoni tiegħek ġiet affettwata ma jfissirx li inti bħala atleta ħażina.
Le, żgur, but my mentality was no, I'm bad, I'm to stop, that's it. But thankfully I continued this summer.
ħanerġgħu nibqgħu bil-pansu fil-ħajja titkompli taqdef. Tajjeb, dan huwa by the way ma l-erba' atleti illi marru jirrappreżentawna fl-Olimpjadi ta' Pariġi se nifqu għal ftit niġu lura u niskopru ftit ukoll x'ġabu magħhom biex juruni wkoll memorabilja minn Pariġi barra Beppe, tajjeb għax Beppe ma ġabx xejn. M'hemmx tagħmel. Daqt inkomplu.
By the way, jippreżenta Gabriel Lija.
By the way, ikompli illum ma dawn l-erba' atleti jiena verament nħossni imċekken fil-preżenza tagħhom. Qabel waqafna konna nitkellmu dwar l-affarijiet li ġibtu magħkom marbutin ma' Pariġi, mhux ħares lejk Beppe tajjeb.
Thanks.
Mela, Gianluca x'ġibt miegħek inti barra li ġejt bil-flok?
Barra li ġejt bil-kit. Jiena ġibt miegħi set ta' pins kommemorattivi.
Tittoljhom naqra ħalli jidru fil-kamera ħajrawna bil-filmat.
Mal-pins li kienu qed jiġu motti għall-atleti fejn huma speċjali nistgħu ngħidu għax jikkommemoraw affarijiet speċjali dwar.
Għandek it-Torri Eiffel, x'għandek
it-Torri Eiffel, għandna ta' xmara sejn fejn saret il-ċermonja tal-ftuħ tal-Olimpjadi.
Sewwa?
Għandna pin, hija kontroversja. Għandna l-pin tal-Atleti 365 li huwa organizzazzjoni li jsegwu l-atleti u jagħtu anke opportunità tal-atleti. Naraw li hawn għandna kola li hija xi ħaġa li ġib il-prosperità. Flimkien magħhom hemm bon chance, good luck.
All right, bil-Franċiż. Tagħmel sens.
Hemm tliet pins oħra dwar l-imħabba u l-ugwaljanza. Ma nafx x'jissejjaħ bil-Malti dik il-verità. Imma dawn it-trieki
Tal-Olimpjadi.
Reeds, eżatt li
Alright.
tifkir lejn l-Olimpjadi antiki
Ta' Greċja.
ta' Greċja u token ta' Pariġi. Pariġi msemmija għal l-belt tad-dawl. Rekk għandna Pariġi bil.
Proset.
Hija xi
Dawn huma
ħaġa-
pins li jiena f'ħajti qatt ma ħajkolli, sewa. La ta' Pariġi u laqqas ta' l-ebda pajjiż ieħor. Imma forsi qed jisma'na ikollu.
Għadu tifkira zaħira biex tgħid inti, tgħid ara jien attendej dawn il-lop ukoll u ħaġa biex tħares.
Eżatt.
Ricord.
Inti, Sasha, ġibt inna miegħek. Dak x'inhu?
Fridge.
Fridge.
They pronounce it differently in French.
Inti
Fridge
kif.
għanida, oh.
Mela Sasha ġabet inna fridge, mhux minn dawk tal-Barki Refuse tajjeb. Da isu soft
It's
toy.
the mascot of Paris.
Il-maskot sewa. Da isu
Of the Paris Games.
il-kappa,
Ejja.
il-kappell
Proset.
tal-awwema, le?
Le.
Li jibsu Franċiżi, per esempio Napolju
Ah,
ma kellux kappell.
Ma
kellux
Simon
kappell.
Dog.
U kappell.
What's Capello?
Kappell iġi.
I forgot the name. No, it's really cute. So I mean, there's a big store, and there are keychains. I mean, all of the mascots. So.
Sewa, so ġibt inna l-fridge miegħek fl-studio.
That's it.
U ġibt inniktar. Dak x'inhu liħor.
Katrina.
That's the same thing as me. That's just the Malta
Alright.
kit jacket. Since it was raining today, in case it rained.
Suppose it was going to rain.
It was supposed to rain.
Fimt. So kontu preparati għal kull eventualità. Żgur affarijiet żgħar li ifakru f'dik il-memorja sabiħa. Ħandur daqsxejn fuqek Beppe jiena. Inti fil-ġiri titħafna konċentrazzjoni. Issa jiena personalment ġili anke sempliċement u forsi anke semmija tmur mixja jew ġirja il-ħsibijiet qasif u ġejjin f'moħħok. Kif jirnexxielek f'dak il-mument isek tikkonċentra. U anke inti fil-prassi tiegħek biex tipprattika. Tħobb tisma' l-mużika xejn normalment x'tagħmel.
If I'm going on a walk and a jog, they're longer kind of things. So you can't compare it to a sprint. When it comes to like a day of training, per esempio, I love music. I love music a lot, so it's like...
Open Nirvana, immaġina, laġiet bil-flok tagħhom jew ma tantx.
Ma tantx, it's one of many tops.
Alright,
to be
sewa.
honest. La, I like Nirvana. I like music a lot, so everything I do in my life, I'm listening to music. If I could listen to music while running in a competition, I would. Emma, you can't. But for me, it kind of helps me get more, focused, more in the zone. I have my kind of music playlist for when I'm competing, or just whatever mood I'm feeling like. And when it comes to actually focusing, I do 100 and 200 meters. So you got 10 seconds to make, you're gonna make mistakes. You have to just try make as little as possible. Because, you're going to do the best that you can, what you trained for. And sometimes you're going to be at your 80% best, sometimes at 100, sometimes you're going to be at 120 and you're going to outdo all you like have done before. But, the focus and the mental kind of preparation that you do for it, in my opinion, is what makes it a big kind of, makes a big difference in the result kind of.
Ġalluka, minn ħaddijak, kif tipprepara ruħek?
Mela, nasib qabel ma nwieġbek hekk ta' min dak li jkun ma jkunx familjar mal-isparar, prova nfehmu nteħna ideja xi kwad nagħmel. Sparar jikkompassa ħafna tipi ta' sports li involvu l-arma. Dak li nagħmel nisejjaħ Olympic trap, center, ġifi ma nisparawx bullet waħda, nisparaw skartoċ li jkun fih ammont ta' ċomp. Prattikament jeżistu magni 15 metru qudiemek, inti terfa' center ma' wiċċek. Tajat, għandek mikrofon, dak li bat signal li dawn il-3 magni li hemm qudiemek ikunu direzzjonijiet u angoli diversi u toħroġ plattina bla ma tkun ta' fid-direzzjoni u l-ispita. U inti xogħolok u tolqota dawn il-plattini dawn l-iskrataġġ. Jien nisimmi ħafna ta' Beppe anzi, għaliex mużika nħobba ħafna, diversi tipi ta' mużika, u nemmen li fl-sports tal-isparar il-ġest, l-azzjoni li tispara titgħallima 50 sessions ta' practice titgħallem tispara, però mbagħad kif titgħallem tikkompeti hija dinja kompletament differenti. Għaliex is-sports tal-isparar mhuwiex 50-50 pereżempju teknika u konċentrament huwa kważi 100% mentally. Once tidda t-teknika inti taf titspara, taf taqbad center bar meta inti tkun tissuq u ddaħħal gear, għas taħsibha. Aħna l-istess, jiġifieri. Jien nerfa' center bla ma nkun naf kważi estensjoni ta' idejja u l-mira huwa estensjoni ta' għajnejja. Jien ma noqgħodx naħseb kif ħan nimmira. Jiena l-plattina u moħħi jkun jiena trenjat li nara plattina xellugija mela jien naf fejn irid imur bis-center fiex irid nispara dil-plattina. Nagħmel hekk billi nkun konċentrat u dik li tqal ħaġa għax inti nisparaw plattina ma nkunu 6 minni se nisparaw f'daqqa, ġifieri nispara jien u mbagħad nistenna 5 minni oħra jisparaw. Allura jien il-konċentrament switch on, switch off, switch on, switch off. U biex tagħmel hekk għal 25 darba jieħu l-ħin. U jieħu l-ħin u jieħu l-isforz għax kemm ili ngħidlek titlef il-konċentrament tkun qed taħseb fuq xi ħaġa oħra u daqshekk tajjeb il-plattina kif qed ngħidu huwa just second nature ma noqgħodx naħseb kif nerfa' s-center. Minn għalija li nkun konċentrat u tista' ma tkunx. Allura x'nagħmel x'kienu r-rutin tiegħi nibda bil-mużika wkoll qabel nkun qed nipprepara nkun qed nilbes l-affarijiet inħobb nitfa' l-mużika f'widnejja u noqgħod nisma'. Once ikolli kollox setjat għandi l-ġakketta għandi s-senta għandi l-skrata ċelesti qabel ma mmur fuq il-post biex nispara. F'kolunkwe range issib postijiet fejn tagħmel dry firing fejn tilbes is-center u tipprattika il-movimenti. U f'dak jien qed nagħmel visualization fejn jien qed nimmaġina il-moviment li ħan nagħmel. Qed nimmaġina qed inħares u nikkonċentra, qed nimmaġina l-plattina toħroġ billi ngħidilha, qed nimmaġina l-plattina ħirġa minn dit toqba, jiena qiegħed bis-center dieħel u nispara fil-ħin opportun. Irrid nagħmel hekk nidħol biex nispara u bdejna. Nibdew ġifieri nibdew nisparaw wieħed u jien fil-proċess waqt li qed nistenna biex imiss il-ħin tiegħi nkun qed nagħmel dal-affarijiet. Jiena jekk ngħid ikun 5 minni qabli wara li nispara jien noqgħod naħseb xi ħaġa u noqgħod inkanta diska, x'in jasal il-ħin fejn tibda nipprepara, nerġa' nkompli dil-kanta lina. Ġifieri nibda nivviżwalizza l-affarijiet u nifoka fuq
intensiva
ħafna u ħafna nies dik li ma jaħsbux kif qed ngħidu l-isparati tagħmlu malajr imma mbagħad biex tikkompeti hija storja kompletament differenti. Għaliex ma jibqax xi ħaġa fejn inti taħseb, pjuttost jekk taħseb ħadd iżbalja. Allura inti trid tmewwet rasek, pratikament moħħok tiżvojtaħ u li mhux faċli. U meta ma jinexxilekx ikollok it-teknika, ikollok ċertu strateġiji biex inti tipprova tiġi default. Tgħid okay. U x'in titlef plattina li ħad tiġri għax aħna maħniex umani, aħna umani, aħna maħniex robots. Alla volja nippruvaw, jiġifieri kif qed ngħidlek ħadeb għamilt 100 minn 100. U riċentament Malta lqatt 75 minn 75 f'ġurnata li huwa rekord nazzjonali anke tal-ġurnata. Tagħmilha ma tagħmilx kuljum imma mhux dejjem ħajrnexxielek. Allura inti trid toħloq il-kondizzjonijiet ideali biex kemm jista' jkun tinqata' lik innifsek.
Kurzità, tajjeb. Versu għas-suġġett taċċajt. Meta
tajjeb li trid. Jiġifieri jien ngħid nagħmel ħossek u raġuni li nagħmel dak il-ħoss għax bis-center f'wiċċek ħalq ikun ġam miftuħ, allura x'inhu l-ħoss li nista' nagħmel minn ma nċaqlaq wiċċi, minn ma nċaqlaq il-muskoli ta' wiċċi li jista' forsi jaqla li għajnejja, dak li jkun xi ħadd jista' jagħmel pull, il-kelma tradizzjonali kien jgħidu pull. Imma anke bir-rieħ titlaq, ġifieri diment li kemm xi ħoss kemm li toħroġ il-plattina.
Għax għandi xew u forsi tajjeb by the way, ma rridx li tipperikola.
Issa xi darba hija miegħi u dak nagħmlu recording u nagħmel by the way, bam, nkissru l-plattina flimkien.
Tajjeb, nagħmluha.
Nagħmluha. Issa fuq il-kamera ġifieri jekk ma nagħmilix ħadd toqgħod tgħid dak ġolu darba kien wedni u qatt ma ħadni.
Eżatt, ġifieri rridu nagħmluha. Minna ħadijak kif tipprepara ruħek, diġà konna nitkellmu dwar li mhux faċli anke meta eżempju kien hemm sitwazzjoni ta' COVID, kif tipprepara mentalment qabel qatfa?
Well, let me start, because in January I had gone to Romania to train, because my coach is from there and he knew our group. I was training in the same pool with David Popovic. He's a world record holder, no, ex-world record holder now, they broke it. But he won a gold in 200 freestyle anyways in Paris and a bronze in the 100, so very good anyways. And it was a really great environment training because they taught me how, like, they're just focused. There's not, I mean, the Maltese mentality in swimming, always moaning, just to like, have not read, just to do like a session and get through it properly.
X'in il-mentalità Maltija ġifieri? Ħannik xfuhom issa.
No, but I didn't be like rude. But swimming is a very hard sport because it's on your own. look at the same black line up and down the pool so many times, so I understand, and even sometimes I do it myself. But I've learned how to get through it because with long mileages, since I'm a long since summer, you have to swim very long mileages and you have to get through it just to reach where you have to be. Insomma, and this Romanian team was like the best fit for me before Olympics, and then I came 2 weeks in Malta and continued my preparation until the Olympic Games. I just had to continue being as focused as possible. Obviously, it's not easy because when you're in Malta, how can I explain? Like, you have a lot of things going on. You have to run some errands, or you have to do some, like over there, just focused, pool, home, gym, pool, home, somehow. Always the same routine. So in Malta, it gets a bit tiring. But it was only 2 weeks and I was headed off to Paris, so it was great.
Katrina, minn ħatijak. Xi skills għaddilek il-papa?
Well, judo's a bit different from the other sports we've mentioned because when I go out, I'm going to go to fight my opponent. And the way it works is it's a random draw. So you could end up that you're lucky and you get somebody who is maybe not as experienced, or you could end up a bit unlucky like me, and in the first fight you get stuck against the world champion who ended up winning second at the Olympics. So it took me quite a while when I was a bit younger to get out of my shell and to say, okay, I'm going to go fight, but I'm as good as the others, I deserve to be here, I can give them a fight. Because as Beppe was saying, as soon as you have that sort of mentality that you're less than them,
Dak is-sens ta' inferiorità.
exactly, you've already lost the fight. And in judo, the way it works is it's a 4-minute fight, but if they score full points in the first 10 seconds, that's it, it's over. You don't get a second chance, you don't get nothing, you're out. So it takes a lot of mental preparation to be able to convince yourself as well, and to fully believe that you deserve to be there and that you can go and fight the world champion and give them a good fight and win on a good day, you know? So more than anything, I kind of look towards a lot of visualization, a lot of self-talk, because even when I'm fighting, my coach can only talk to me in those few seconds of break in between when the...
Tista' xi ħaġa li jgħidlek hekk.
Normally he's telling me to move my feet or to do a particular technique or to pay attention because I'm doing something a bit stupid. So I very rarely get to speak to my coach during these 4 minutes. So a lot of it is myself recognizing the situation and knowing how to adapt and how to change, and talking to myself, telling myself, look, your hand position is not good, you have to change this way in these split seconds.
Fast, eh?
In these split seconds, exactly. So it comes, the physical side comes almost as second nature. But then the mental side, you have to spend a lot of time building up on it.
Fuq livell prattiku, di isu mistoqsija li jagħmlu ħafna, mhux l-atleti, iktar pereżempju lill-kantanti, ma min jikkompeti ishom jagħmlu ilhom. Hemm pereżempju jien naf xi oġġetti li tieħdu miegħek sentimentali jew xi talba jew isek isu x'ikun il-ħsieb tagħkom fuq livell emozjonali qabel tikkompetu, ma nafx tagħmlu xi ħaġa partikolari, jiġifieri.
I have this like blessed rosary bead.
Okay.
And I take it with me in my bag, in my swimming bag.
Okay.
I mean, I try to mentally relax and think about all the positive things I've done leading up in the training. I mean, I train in a week. I do 10 swim sessions and 2 gym sessions. So I know I have a sort of backup, and I know I can trust myself that I'm ready for it. So having these little things try to help you like stay focused.
Ma nafx l-oħrajn għandhom xi ħaġa partikolari jew le.
I mean, I like to listen to particular songs. I wear particular underwear. But I'm trying to learn to not rely on those. Għalax, one day I go for a competition, my headphones are out of charge. Like, if I rely on music, then that's for me, like, nista nippakja l-affarijiet u mmur id-dar. Because, you know, it's another thing that can go wrong. And I have done my best performance when, for example, I wasn't wearing my underwear. Not to sound, but I know a lot of people.
Beppe for this show is really...
A lot of people do it, I'm not weird.
I have the same underlayer top that I wear and everything, so I understand you perfectly.
Yeah. You're giving me a look. Metli xejn ma tittini ħarsa.
Ma fuq radio met jisma' dik ma ħadix sewa.
So I'm trying to teach myself to not rely on kind of these sentimental things because the more emotional you are towards something, the more unstable you can be. And as everyone here knows, you need to clear your head. You need to be completely stoic when competing. Everything just needs to. You have to like imagine visualizations, everything.
Flow.
Exactly. You have to just be in a flow state where the people near you don't even like astħossom.
Anki meta jkun hemm ċelebrazzjonijiet kif qalet sax aktar kmini tipo nies dak
It's really
l-euforija
hard. It's really hard. I mean, the Athletic Stadium was bigger than mine.
I had 80,000 people watching.
80,000 people qed jarawk.
Live.
I mean,
Which,
all
to
eyes
be
on you, you know
honest-
what I mean?
Exactly.
I mean, before that, I was maybe used to a stadium of 100. That's probably the most I've competed. But that didn't, like the 80,000 people, I was nervous, but it wasn't, honestly, because of them. It wasn't because of them. I knew a lot of people, obviously, from Malta are watching, you know. Everyone went on Eurosport, on this TV channel, everyone's watching. We have 5 athletes, you know.
only so
They're
many.
gonna watch us. It's not like someone else is competing, forsi jaraw lilu mux lili. Everyone's watching. And they're the people that you want to make proud, yes, but you want to also prove to them, you know? Because everyone's like, you know, we're we're never gonna reach this. This is your opportunity to prove to them, not make them proud. Because to me, I think proving to the Maltese that we're a lot more than what they kind of think we are is more important than being patriotic and making Malta
Ġifieri aktar
proud.
minn sens ta' patriotizmu li turu li smaħna fl-atletika f'dan il-każ kapaċi naslu għandna l-potenzjal, għandna t-talent biex naslu mhux iżu everyone looking down on sport jew
Mux hekk.
But in Malta, that's kind of the mentality. Not to like.
ġifieri tibqgħu tħossu l-ment anki intom li mortu fl-Olimpjadi tħossu dan is-sens li bl-isport ma taslu mkien.
Le, aħna.
Mhux intom,
Not
in-nies.
us,
the
the
nies
people
is
are
scoring
trying to
this.
support
Issa intom
us.
qegħdin hemm fuq għax wasaltu fl-Olimpjadi.
Mux hekk?
Aħseb wara minn qed jitħarraġ fuq livell lokali.
I don't think that's really fair to say as such. I think the mentality is changing with the younger generations, and not only, you know, thanks to other athletes who have come before us as well, who have made it and who have broken records and who have gotten certain results. I think that they have actually motivated the athletes like they motivated myself, at least in my opinion. So I do hope that even through the efforts of my peers over here, that we are kind of helping to change that mentality, which I do think it's a slow process, but I do think it is changing slowly.
It is just very slow. I thought by like, at least after Tokyo, we had started like progressively getting better, but after Paris, like some articles that there were, it was a bit. It's not like we have a lot of support. I had overwhelming support, but there'll be like these few people that try to bring you down, and it's quite frustrating because like, you know how much like we fought to get here, and like we're trying to prove ourselves, and I mean I made myself proud just by being there. Emma, when you get someone, I feel like at the back of like, you know, anyone, it could be anyone, just trying to bring you down 24/7. It's like, come on, like you know, like you don't understand how much sacrifices goes into at least my sport. I mean everyone. All
X'taħseb
sports have
ġallu,
their own
jina-
sacrifices.
Ma sawet jgħidu. Verità dik, ġifieri naħseb forsi ma jkunx fl-sports ma jarawx minn xiex ngħaddu. Ġifieri li inter 14 sena bdejt nispara. Bl-intenzjoni nasal sal-Olimpjadi, illum għandi 26 sena. Ġifieri għamilt da żmien kollu.
U tajjeb ngħidu li inti inġinier.
Jina, ġifieri, alright,
Exactly,
jina
that's the thing. None of us are
ġifieri mhux
professional athletes
professional.
being paid full
Jien
time
minix-
to train. We're doing
Xejn minn dak.
studies or we're doing work on the side. So at every point in our life, it's not like we could say, okay, that's it. All I have to think about is training, eating
It's
well.
not like other countries,
getting,
I'm not trying to
you know,
say. In Malta, we're still a step behind, which I understand because we're a small country, whatever. But like you see USA, I mean, they come up to the Olympics, they have a whole building for themselves. Messers, they get their own cardio machines. I'm like,
exactly. Many times when we go to international competitions, I think all of us, you know, we go up with a coach, and maybe that's it. I mean, if we're lucky, we get a physio.
sometimes.
Exactly. I don't think I've ever gone to any of the qualifying events with a physiotherapist,
لا، لا،
and many other countries go in that way. And I think the biggest issue is that a lot of people don't understand this. A lot of people sort of like assume that, oh, yes, they're training so much, they're sacrificing because they're getting paid to do so. I mean, I myself, I don't have any sponsors. I have 0 sponsors. So everything I've done has been my sacrifice, my parents helping me, and then some funding from the MOC, which has obviously helped me get to where I am. But I think a lot of people choose to criticize many times and they don't actually stop to think a second and say, wait, hang on a second. How much was she actually sacrificing to be where she is? Because it's very easy to criticize any one of us here. It's very easy to criticize and say, oh, none of you won a medal. None of us won a medal. But we all went. We all gave it our best that we could on the day. And we all sacrificed a lot to get to where we were on that day and to get to that level and to try our best, not only for Malta, but even for ourselves.
Ġallu kan jgħamil argument u tajni u le.
Imma le, pratikament binkompli fuq li qed jgħidu, ġifieri jiena minn 12 sena naħseb sa issa, mhux ħanibdejja ngħid, naħseb kejt iżjed u battejt u għaddejt iktar naħseb minn sofferenza. Issa minn meta kelli għaddi twelit sa 12 sena ta' età. Ġifieri l-ammont ta' dbatija li għaddejt u ħafna jgħidu x'dbatija x'għamilt. Imma l-ammont ta' sagrifiċċju, l-ammont ta' uġieħ emozjonali u mentali u ħaġa oħra wkoll ngħidu ħafna fuq mental health. Imparlaw ħafna fuq mental health, naf li hemm bżonn li jsir u qed isir ix-xogħol ftit. Però il-mental health li hemm assoċjat ma' atleta li qed jipprova mhux jasal biss sal-livell nazzjonali, ma qed jipprova qed jimbotta dak kollu li hemm kontri. U iktar ma jipprova iktar isib problemi u jtifaċċa dawn il-problemi. Ġifieri jiena kienu miżerja dawn iż-żożja tiegħi kienet miżerja għax nipprova niġġieled kontra lili nnifsi biex nipprattika sport. Sport li jirrikjedi ħafna training, ħafna anka flus għaliex huwa sport li għandek consumables, grata u plattini. Ġifieri minn naħa tiegħi nirringrazzja l-ġenituri tiegħi li dejjem għamlu dak kollox. Jien ma niċħadx ukoll għajnuna li kelli mill-Federazzjoni u Sports Malta u l-MOC li jenuni imma frankly, xorta.
Imma affettwat ukoll is-saħħa mentali
tiegħi. Ġifieri fl-istess ħin ukoll mela jiena qed nistudja, qed nispara, qed naħdem part-time għax waqt li kont qed nistudja wkoll qed naħdem biex kemm inmantni lili nnifsi, kemm ħajħorġu li flus it-tfal. Inmantni l-isport. U nipprova nsifer anke ġieli minn buti u minn buti l-familja qabel ma jkollna l-fondi allokati. Ġifieri tgħaddi minn ċiklu enormi li granted ma niddejjaq xejn li għamilt. Ġifieri kieku jkolli ngħaddi minn dak kollu li għaddejt bid-batija u bid-disfatti kollha x'jiena ħassejt immaġi dan huwa l-goalpost. Wasaltaw, imexxu li l-goalpost, nasalaw imexxu li l-goalpost. U dejjem insib ostakli. U għax dak fil-li kanna kontrat miegħu dak issa ma nistgħux. U l-fondi m'hemmx. L-affarijiet li
granted kien hemm l-isport waslek iktar eżempju titkellem dan il-mod ta' tbatija ta' ansjetà jew realtajiet oħra li nisimgħu dwarhom qasta saħħa mentali bħal tibda tibżel pereżempju ħataħkemek depressjoni jew realtajiet hekk.
Jien naħseb li kelli depressjoni ma kontx naf li kienet depressjoni għax jiena għamilt ammont ta' snin enormi fejn jiena qed imur nispara suppost sport li suppost nieħu pjaċir. U mmur mhux kontra qalbi, ġifieri mmur bħeġġa biex nimprovja ma minflok immur u napprezzah, immur u naqla fuq wiċċi mhux qed ngħid li ħadd ieħor kien isawwatni ta' imma li jiena biex nilħaq xi ħaġa li jien minix, biex nipprova nagħmel xi ħaġa oltre minn ħajti barra li immur nistudja nigradwa nkolli xogħol. Biex ngħid jiena f'ħajti għamilt xi ħaġa, għaddejt minn martirju. Unammen dawk li kienu viċin tiegħi jafu minn xi xaddejt, imma dak li ma jkunx fl-isports. U mhux qed nitkellem għal sparar biss. Naħseb Sasha taf li
Katrina taf simili.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's really hard because, as he's saying, we go through so much. I mean, after Tokyo, I was still 16, 17. And those 3 years, I hit a plateau. In a plateau, it means like you're not improving on your time. So I go into a race, I'm swimming the best I can, and the time is just slower and slower and slower. I was hitting these mental blocks. Issa, I had a lot of people commenting that like, Lodi, she went once to the Olympics, so that's like... And it really starts getting to you because, as you said, mental health is so important. And I've gone to psychologists, 1, 2, 3, trying to figure out what's best for me and trying to speak to people, helping me and whatever. And I love swimming so much, I didn't want to just quit on it because people are talking or I can't do this or I can't do that, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to continue pushing myself and trying to block everyone out. But obviously it's not easy doing it alone. I had my parents, I had my coach, and it took a long process. I mean, it wasn't until this year, beginning of this year, that I started to get my motivation back and started to improve on my times. Because otherwise I'd have been stuck where I was.
So affettwatek daqstant mentalment.
Definitely, and because at 16 you're still a bit naive, you know, not immature. So I was quite mature. I'm still mature, but like you are still like in that phase where like everything's easy, you know. Exact. Now as you get older, obviously it's just get harder. So I'm very grateful for my parents that always provided for me, and obviously always looked for competitions to try motivate me. Because I'm in Malta and swim. I think in other sports you always compete against the same 10 people. So I had to go abroad to try and compete against different people to push myself. So it's a lot. And I don't think, as you said, people don't understand how much you have to go through to get where we are today.
Beppe, x'taħseb fuq qed ngħidu?
Jien naħseb li jenut li nsemmu l-kritika, għax il-kritika ħatirċivi anka jekk tkun l-aħjar fid-dinja, xorta ħatirċivi l-kritika. It's gonna be there forever, you know? But what annoys me is that people don't believe in us, tipo, even when we give them facts. Because we've given facts a lot. I mean, I can only speak about myself. This year, so the previous national record of the 100 was 10:49 by half Maltese, half Australian, which is a big time. Like going 10:49, you're under 10:50, you're halfway towards 10 flat, which if you're 10 flat, you're superhuman almost. You're competing with the best in the world. So I was able to break that, which to me was something I knew I'd do. Like how Sasha mentioned she knew she'd go to the Olympics. Like, you know when you have a certain ambition, you have a certain ambition, you know who you are. If you know your limitations, you know. I did it. I did 10:47, so just barely breaking it. And then that same day I did 10:47, I ran 10:23. Now 10:23 is closer to 10 flat than it is to 10:5. I think if you told my coach right now is Steve, if you told him when he was an athlete in his time that you'd have an athlete running 10:2, it's not to say it's me or whatever, but it's a fact that if you told him if you had an athlete running 10:2, he wouldn't believe you. And to be honest, if I was in his shoes, I wouldn't believe him. If you told me last year I would be running 10:2, I wouldn't believe you. But there is potential, and these guys all have it. And not only us that went to the Olympics, because there's a lot of potential everywhere you look. There's a lot of people that have it, and instead of it being kind of explored and funded, it does get funded, alright? We have a lot of help.
Imma jista' jsir aktar.
But definitely,
you know, there are funds also going in the wrong places. I mean, Jena last year from Athletics Malta, I only spent around €200 to go on one camp. To be honest, that's so low. To like one athlete who just ran 10:23 is spending €200 in a season. It's supposed unheard of, but these problems happen everywhere. You know, I don't want to, and I know everyone has their own ideas and problems, but the critique is what it is.
Ekku, dan huwa by the way, se nifqu għal-ftit għax qed nidru aħna wara l-ħin din id-darba, imma se nkomplu ma' daw l-atleti biex nitkellmu wkoll dwar ir-realtà tal-isfidi li din jaffaċċjaw. By the way, kompli ftit ieħor.
By the way, jippreżenta Gabriel Lija.
By the way, ikompli mi Gabriel Lija, illum hawn ħafna entużjażmu atletiku nista' ngħidlek fl-istudio kont nitkellmu dwar l-isfidi li taffaċċjaw intom, ġifieri miegħi għandi l-Katrina, lil-Sasha, lil-Ġalluka u lil-Beppe li marru jirrepreżentawna kien jgħidu li aktar milli patriottiżmu iħossu li jridu jisfidaw din in-notion ħana sab l-Ingliż iżu dil-perċezzjoni li l-Malti fl-isport u fl-atletika mhux kapaċi jasal, li Beppe kien jispjega tant tajjeb illi mhux il-każ u jekk jiġu investiti aktar flus fil-verità hemm ħafna potenzjal. U kont nitkellmu wkoll dwar għajnuna f'dik li hija saħħa mentali u anki support. U idea oħra ta' support hija li anke jkun hemm f'dawn l-attivitajiet chaplains bħalma ġil qasmu wkoll magħna meta kienu preżenti anki membri mill-Kummissjoni Djoċesana Sport. Fil-fatt hawnhekk għandi poster sempliċi li tqassam waqt li intom kontu qegħdin tikkompetu. Aħna kif anki insemmi dan il-programm isir b'kollaborazzjoni kemm mal-Aġenzija Żgħażagħ li tippromovi ħafna il-valuri tal-isport u kemm wieħed jista' jieħu benefiċċji mill-isport. Ġifieri aħna nisimgħu forsi biss li l-isport ibedek mill-vizzji u jgħinek tqassam il-ħin, imma fil-verità l-isport kapaċi jiffurmak. Imma wkoll il-kollaborazzjoni barra mal-Aġenzija Żgħażagħ issir mal-Malta Catholic Youth Network u kif qed insemmi fuq nota spiritwali meta hemm l-isport hemm il-Kummissjoni Djoċesana Sport. U tul dawn l-Olimpjadi barra dawn il-posters li jurejtkom kien hemm ukoll regolarment kontenut fuq il-paġna ta' Facebook tagħhom illi fihom kienu anki jinkoraġġixxu lis-segwaċi biex jitolbu għall-atleti u għall-organizzaturi naħsbu li hija xi ħaġa sabiħa ħafna. Imma wkoll kienu jtellgħu filmati dwar l-Olimpjadi din interessanti b'relazzjoni mal-Vanġelu tal-ħadd, ġifieri isu siltu ispirazzjonijiet mill-Vanġelu u għaduhom anki ma' dak li jkun qed jgħaddi minnhom l-atleta. U se nkunu qegħdin nisimgħu u nsegwu wieħed minn dawn il-messaġġi propju tal-Kummissjoni Djoċesana Sport.
Il-Baruni Pierre u Bertin kellu din l-idea li jerġa' jibda l-logħob Olimpiċi bl-iskop ukoll li jkabbar id-disċiplina fost iż-żgħażagħ u anke wkoll jippromovi l-paċi fid-dinja. Permezz ta' din l-idea tiegħu ta' opportunità biex żgħażagħ u atleti jkunu jistgħu jħadmu t-talenti tagħhom, jħadmu l-isport favorit tagħhom u jkomplu jikbru u jitjiebu. Jużaw bl-aħjar mod it-talent li huma għandhom, it-talent li tuhom Alla. Dan il-mod ta' opportunità il-eluf ta' nies, opportunità li għadna ngawdu minna sal-lum biex juru u jużaw il-potenzjal tagħhom. Kristu wkoll fl-Evanġeli se nisimgħu il-ħadd li ġej juża dan 5 ħobżiet u 2 xkutiet biex minnhom ukoll jibbenefikaw tant u tant nies, eluf ta' nies. Bil-multiplikazzjoni setgħu jieħdu minna ħafna nies u jgawdu minna. Inti x'inhi hija l-idea tiegħek? L-idea tajba. L-azzjoni tajba li titgħamel li permezz tagħha wkoll igawdu ħafna nies. X'tista' tagħmel inti bit-talent li għandek biex taqsmu mal-oħrajn u minnu tibbenefika kemm inti u anke wkoll l-oħrajn.
U hemmhekk għandna kif segwejna il-messaġġ min-naħa tal-Kummissjoni Djoċesana Sport, messaġġi bħal dawn illi qegħdin jixxandru fuq il-paġna tagħhom ta' Facebook waqt li hawnhekk sħabna l-Olimpjadi kienu qegħdin jerqu l-araq tad-demm, aħna konna qegħdin nitolbu għalikom tajb u nisiltu dawn ir-riflessjonijiet. Aktar kmieni konna qegħdin nitkellmu dwar l-isfidi illi intom iġġarbu. U Beppe kien jitkellem b'mod passjonat ħafna, ma nafx tixtieqx tkompli.
Kemm nixtieq ngħid xi ħaġa fuq xaġa li qed qabel. Semmejt investiment fondi u flus, imma mhux il-każ biss. Għax hemm ħafna investiment li jista' jsir f'dixxiplina u f'rispett li naħseb
Fl-imsens.
isu dixxiplina mill-poplu pereżempju jew rispett mill-poplu lej aħna l-marsa fejn nittrejnja jien il-gym fejn nerfgħu il-weights. Dizastru. Trap, weights mal-art, fliexken, tal-plastik kullum kien. Nuqqas ta' disċiplina mill-atlet li jitrenjaw hemm u minn ukoll minn Athletics Malta li ma jaħdux ħsieb il-fasilitajiet tagħhom għax inti jekk issib il-ħmieġ ħatħammeġ, jekk issib il-nadif ħatnaddaf. Jien hekk naħseb. So, apparti minn investiment ta' flus li mhux dejjem huwa possibbli, dejjem hemm dak l-investiment li nistgħu nagħmlu fil-mentalità u fid-dixxiplina tagħna stess. Li rrid niċċarax mhux kollox idwar mal-flus.
Ekku.
That's all about money, eżatt.
Kan nitkellmu dwar il-gym, il-kumplament, ġifieri nitkellmu il-range, il-korsa, il-pexxina tħossu issa ġifieri fuq livell ta' kritika kostruttiva. Tħossu li huwa up to standard għal dak li hemm fuq livell internazzjonali?
For me, I never had any problems with it being dirty or whatever. There was high maintenance, and they just built a new Cotonera pool, which is very nice, although we have some problems as it can't be... It's meant to be a 50-meter indoor pool, but it's halved into 25 and 25, so... to do a 50-meter competition, you need another pool to warm up and cool down. So if I have an event in the middle of the competition hours, I cannot warm up at the very beginning, because there's no point to do a warm up. You just go for your race and you're gonna... It's pointless.
Jifir memx fej tamel warm up jisu.
Eżatt.
Jekk nifhem sew.
Issa, the competitions can only be held 25 meter in that pool. So the Costanera pool is 50 meter, but only 25 meter competitions can be held, which is a bit controversial. I mean, and then it's very good for water polo and synchro. So from that end, it's very good, but it would have been very helpful to have another, you know. We keep on improving. At least we got there. Let's have an indoor pool in Malta. It's perfect.
Fem, Diki, ma reach, like, I don't want to discredit the funds that have gone into the track as well, because they have made big changes to the track, especially, I mean, over the past 2 years. It's unreal, and there have been a lot of things that, you know, my elders that used to train wouldn't have ever imagined having. So again, I don't want to sound disrespectful or pessimistic or even ungrateful for what there is. If you're satisfied with, you know, what there is, you're never going to, I think, improve.
Katrina, x'taħseb?
Well, from a standpoint of the facilities as such, we have very good facilities in Malta for judo. Having said that, it's a bit of a sad thing to say that I've only trained in it this year, I think at most 20 or 30 times. Because my biggest issue is that in judo you need to train with a partner. So you need somebody of roughly your weight category, which in my case is 48 kilos, at the most 52 kilos, who is either your level or slightly better. That is the only way that you can improve. So in my case, my age as such, there aren't really any other females, and what they're up and coming athletes. However, they're still, let's say, the oldest one maybe is 15 years old, so there's quite a difference in the level between me and them, and unfortunately the other teammates I had during this preparation were under 100 kilos and under 60 kilos, so I couldn't train with either of them. So in my case, unfortunately, I had to go abroad just to find somebody to train with. Otherwise, I would have gotten stuck training with my coach, who was 73 kilos, which is, if somebody understands 48 to 73 kilos, slight difference. So yeah.
Ekku. Ma nafx Gianluca tixti kommenta fuq l-kont ngħidu, jew
rajta.
Sewa. Fost il-kommenti li ntqalu Mario Bonello li wkoll kien ipparteċipa fl-atletika fl-Olimpjadi fil-passat, għall-sport mhuwiex priorità għas-sistema edukattiva ta' Malta. Issa intom il-konflitti li bdejtu titħarġu ħanejtek b'mod professjonali, kif tikkummentaw dwar l-edukazzjoni sportiva f'Malta? Intom li kellkom anke tibbilanċjaw l-istudji tagħkom, l-isport u din ir-realtà.
Jiena l-iskola ritta minn dejjem. Ġifieri jien qatt ma kont għattundit li minn moħħi li nissagrifika l-iskola biex nagħmel l-isport. Però l-istess ħin qatt ma għaddit li moħħi li nieqaf nittrenja waqt li għandi l-iskola. Jien meta qed bat l-isparar u vera kienu ġobni qed le għalfejn għandi nċedi l-isport biex jiena nkompli l-iskola jew vice versa. Ngħidlek il-verità l-isport tagħna l-isparar ħafna minnu l-isport jrid isir bil-fors fid-dawl tax-xemx għaliex huwa outdoor sport ma tax titrenja fl-għaxija. Allura konna nagħmel kuraġġ anzi bl-swimmers għax konna fl-swimmers iqumu fl-4 ta' filgħodu. Jgħidu allura dawk iqumu qabel l-iskola u wara l-iskola jien mhux kapaċi nsib il-ħin.
Fl-4 nofs.
Għax naf li umu dak il-ħin u naf li ġili trenja wara l-iskola.
Issa tal-breakfast ġoġbi.
Allora qed jekk huma kapaċi, jekk huma jqumu dak il-ħin, qed mela jiena kapaċi mmur nsib xi ħin wara l-iskola. Ġifieri bħala xkiel ma tantx kelli. Onestament li nista' ngħid li meta kont dejt nipprattika l-isport tiegħi u kont għadni l-iskola, l-isparar huwa forsi naqta tabu wkoll. Bejn forsi ħabba li ħafna nies ma jkunux fl-isports jaħsbuh li huwa kaċċatu biex niftehmu, jkun eżattament bħal kaċċa, u kellu wkoll ftit għalliema fi żmien li kienu forsi kellhom opinjoni tiegħi.
Jaħsbuk aggressiv hekk?
Le, kienu jafu kif kien Gianluca qabel beda l-isport. Imbagħad xi beda l-isport qalu l-ommi ma dak parti minn tip ta' nies li forsi ma jħobbx l-ambjent, jew mhux il-każ, jiena l-isport tal-isparar huwa separat mill-kaċċa u ma tista' qatt tagħmel argument bejn il-kaċċa li huwa passatemp u l-isport li huwa sport. Jiġifieri nkelli forsi minn opinjoni differenti, ma fejn indaħal l-edukazzjoni nifisha kien hemm min prova jqatali qalbi u jgħidli missek ma tipprattikax l-isport għax titfoka fuq il-karriera. Kemm
Wasalt. Nixilek il-bilanċ.
Sagrifiċċji, tittamel sagrifiċċji mhux qed tippretendi li kollox jiġi fuq il-platt, tittamel sagrifiċċji.
F'dal każ fuq il-platt. Sasha, x'taħseb?
I mean, I also got a lot of support from my parents to have both education and swimming, but when it came to it, I had to pull out of school. So this is very controversial, because in Malta school was more important and what so on.
Imma għandu jkun hekk dik il-mistoqsija
In
mbagħad
reality,
tal-kontest.
I believe no, because I went at 16. This was the year after Tokyo. I went in Romania. I was living alone at 16.
Kemm domt? Tgħix waħda hemmhekk.
I lasted 4 months. It was really hard. I had to cook, clean, everything on my own. And I was at JC at the time. Unfortunately, they're not doing online lessons. So the lectures, I was missing out. And I tried to get notes from my friends and my parents, listen, I can't do both. Either I'm gonna choose swimming or I go back to Malta and complete for the school. And I'm very grateful because they always understood. They knew my intentions was always to give my best in whatever I did, but obviously I took into swimming. And now I say, not I regret stopping school, but I had a bit of like an identity crisis, because once swimming was going not the way I wanted, I was like, what am I going to do from now on? You know what I mean? Exactly, swimming is not for life. So I knew eventually I was going to start school again from one year or another. So at the moment I'm in this course, I'm still currently doing it. Sports management.
Okay.
And it's something I love to do. So one way or another it always works out. So I'm very grateful for that.
Katrina, minn ħatijak.
Well, unfortunately, in secondary school, I wasn't given the most support back when I was sailing. And in fact, my mom was actually criticized quite a lot because she would take me out of school to send me to certain high-level competitions or to training camps. And so she was actually criticized quite a bit by the teachers at the time.
Għax kienu aktar jaraw fl-iskola.
Exactly, they said that it was basically a waste of time and that I shouldn't be focusing on sport, unfortunately. However, now I can say that I have recently spoken with some of the same teachers back then, and their views have changed, and they're like, oh, because now we mention you in lessons and we talk about it, and it's such an honor to have
Ma kellek mur tasal l-Olimpjadi biex.
Unfortunately, I think it's a bit of a challenge because, you know, it was an old mentality and now the newer mentality is kind of being pushed. However, even at university, I had done a year bachelor's in biology, but although I was given a bit of support from the university, unfortunately I couldn't manage both my studies and my sport, so I ended up changing and going into the physical education course, where I received a lot of support. And then from there I went and I moved to my master's, which I just finished now, and I did it completely online part-time, so I was able to time manage and able to control my training and also my studies at the same time.
Beppe, fil-kas tijak.
They pretty much said it, but the only thing I'd like to say is...
Inti xkont qed tistudja jew qed tistudja?
Jien nistudja l-perit palissa l-Università, jgħid fir-raba sena.
Okay.
The reality of it is sport is very unpredictable. So I can be one day Olympic champion, next day tear your hamstring or something. Touch wood, it never happens, but it's the truth. I mean, so you have to have a backup. Fil-verità, u fl-axar mill-axar kulħadd ħajritira. So sakemm ma ssir xi Usain Bolt, mhux ħajkollok xi.
Ġibt 10:43 kemm qedlek?
23. Qas nibda miegħu. Imma insomma.
Ma tistax tgħid. Inti jekk qed ħatem
Għalissa, tieni ċans. Imma we have to be realistic, you know, you can't live off sport. At a kind of, even at a professional level. I mean, there are so many professionals that do sport until they're 30 and then they're flustered for a job. In America, it's not a Malta thing. Fil-verità, a lot of Americans that have their college system where they're doing college, they're getting a degree. At the same time, they're training. Obviously, they focus on the training. The college is just to have a degree. If they don't make it to a national team, or if they don't hit a big sponsor, which is tough in America because, you know, I mean, here in Malta, I'm the only guy running 10-2. There, 10-2 is a poor time for them. They're all running like 10-0, 10-1 in America. Kids my age and younger, even under 10. So there it's even harder to get a career out of sport. So even these kind of people in America are also, you know, doing this dual career thing, and then when their sport, they're done, they're satisfied, or they haven't made it, they're like, okay, I'll go into whatever they're going into. So it's a global thing.
I just like to say that in my secondary years, I was at National Sports School, which was quite helpful. And I heard now that the Mediterranean College of Sport is opening. So it's another new thing in Malta that we're pushing on to have education and sport mixed together, which is great. I mean, finally getting there.
If I can add on as well, at least with a lot of judokas on international levels, and I mean even Olympians, quite a lot of them also work, because at least in judo you cannot make a living out of it. So there are quite a few doctors, and there are quite a few people who are starting to be lawyers or studying for PhDs whilst training at the very high level that judo requires. So, you know, having a dual career is something that I do believe should be.
U għonek nappella ħafna l-ġenituri biex jekk għandhom il-ulidhom jew jafu nies li għandhom potenzjal kbir fl-sport mhux jaqtawlhom
Ma
qalbhom.
jaqtawlhomx qalbhom.
Definitely.
Jaqbdu dik ir-rotta.
Jien li nistajt naħseb kulħadd ħajqabel miegħi li permezz tal-isport kbirt. U kbirt iżjed milli kieku ma parteċ fil-sport. Ir-raġel li jinsirtu l-mu naħseb kollha kemm aħna n-nies issirna llum u minħabba l-sport. Mhux għax prattikajt sport, imma li għext ħajja ta' sportiv għaddejt from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs. U nixtieq ngħid li l-karra tiegħi hopefully għadha ma spiċċaċ, ġifieri għad għandi 26 sena, l-sports tagħna kif inhu jibqa' għaddej, dement li riflessi jibqgħu tajbin. Jiġifieri kieku ma kellix l-sports f'ħajti, forsi ma kienx ikolli l-karattru li għandi llum, kien kolli forsi karattru differenti u forsi ma nkunx kapaċi niffaċċja ċertu affarijiet li llum niffaċċjahom. Jiġifieri Gianluca mhux biss għax inġinier, ma għax atleta u maħabba li atleta dort id-dinja min jirrappreżenta l-pajjiż tiegħi fejn qatt kont nobsor, jien kont niċċajta mal-ġenituri tiegħi, nidilhom jien l-unika wieħed li m'għandix passaport mill-iskola. Llum il-ġurnata naħseb fost ħabi kollha tal-iskola u l-università naħseb iktar li sifirt fosthom u mort pajjiżi biex nikkompetu nirrappreżenta pajjiżi li ma kontx nimmaġina mmur pereżempju on a holiday.
Għalfej.
Pereżempju Qatar, Libja, l-Eġittu, Morocco u neġanejt, aħna ma mmurux postijiet żbieħ, fis-sens li ma mmurux il-postijiet.
U qed mur ġod deżerti,
Le, Eġittu pereżempju ġo nofs tad-deżert ġo kamp sportiv barra minn kulħadd, imma ngħid li f'ħajti esperjenza dik dejjem nista' mmur nara l-piramidi 40 sena oħra. Imma ġo dal-kamp sportiv atleti ħajmorru. Ġifieri mort ir-Russja, mort l-Azerbajġan, mort f'postijiet fejn tara d-differenzi fil-kultur, titgħallem ma' nies, tiltaqa' ma' nies, naħseb kollha kemm aħna għandna ħbieb barranin. Ġifieri għandi ħbieb mill-Iran, għandi ħbieb mill-Azerbajġan li kieku mhux ma kienx mill-isport.
Ekku.
Qatt ma konna niltaqgħu.
L-aħħar mistoqsija, nibdew nikkonkludu ftit. Ikoll nistaqsikom fil-verità għax jien dejjem hekk ngħid waħda mbagħad ikun hemm oħra. Imma ħanorbothom flimkien. L-aspirazzjonijiet personali tagħkom għall-futur. Imma wkoll l-aspirazzjonijiet għal Malta u Għawdex fil-mod kif iħarsu lejkom bħala sportivi u anki lej l-sport. X'kultura tixtiequ li titrawhem f'Malta. Nibda hekk, tajjeb nibda bik Katrina.
Well, personally, I just want to continue to improve and to continue to be the best athlete and best person I possibly can. So I just want to keep on building on that. And then from an aspect of Malta and the culture, I think that slowly we are making waves and we are sort of improving, because I mean, you have to look at the athletes we have now. We're doing things which athletes before us maybe didn't have the opportunity or weren't able to do. So slowly we are sort of breaking those doors down and continuously growing. So I think we just, you know, keep on going on the path we're going and keep on improving.
Obviously, I have some competitions coming up. I have World Championships short course in December, which I'm working for currently.
Auguri.
Thank you. Obviously, I'll continue working. There's GSSC next year.
X'inhu eżatt għax
GSSC, the Small Nation Games, they were held
Okay.
They're quite important for Malta. So that's another, I mean, a lot of competitions, but we'll just take it step by step and see how it goes. As she said, I mean, we're always finding ways to improve, and we are getting there, but it's a very slow progression, but I believe we'll get there.
Tajjeb, Gianluca.
Nkompli fuq l-huma, aħna l-sports tagħna jkun fuq Olympic Cycle 4 snin, ġifieri issa Pariġi spiċċaw magħhom qed iċ-ċiklu ta' Pariġi, nibdew iċ-ċiklu ta' Los Angeles, ġifieri 4 sena oħra jsiru l-Olimpjadi hemmhekk. Naraw nifformaw pjan, naraw x'nistgħu nagħmlu biex inkunu f'pożizzjoni tajba daqs ikonna anzi mhux aqwa. Ġifieri nkomplu nikkompetu barra minn Malta, nkomplu nimpruvjaw. Palma ngħidu bl-Ingliż, the first one to the fire always gets burnt, jiġifieri aħna li ġrat nagħmlu offert li ġenerazzjoni ta' qabilna ma għamlux u kol ħansibhom diffiċli, imma tinwittu triq biex dawk li
Ekku.
ħajġu warajna
Eżatt.
ikollhom diġà dak il-percentaġġ aħjar.
U s-support tal-pubbliku li jemmen
Yes,
fihom.
definitely.
Mux ftit jimbis qabel imorru biex ikonna news item imma.
Ekku.
Unfortunately, you have to prove to someone before they can start believing. I mean, like he said, you need to. The first one there gets burnt, but then hopefully you pave a way. You know, it's a bit unfortunate that the first one needs to get burnt, but everything has its ups and downs. As for goals, us we don't really look at I mean, we do look at a 4-year cycle, but it's too much. Like we look at even. I mean, I've planned out my season for next year until September. But until then, it's day by day, you know, training every day, keeping up with academics every day, and then whatever happens, happens, you know.
Proset laħwa, naħseb, kien vera program interessanti, għanna bżon ħafna iktar minn dawn id-diskussjonijiet maturi biex nifmu aktar il-mod kif qed taħsbu intom ir-reazzjonijiet tan-nies għax ħafna drabi sempliċiment naraw riżultati minn rebaħ, nitkellmu fuqhom iskom f'termini ta' medalji, iskom magni tal-patriotizmu tal-pajjiż biex ikonna biex niftaħru, dejjem niftaħru bikom, ġifieri mhux biss meta tmorru hemmhekk u jekk nixtieq ngħid xi ħaġa wara diskursata, kemm intom persuni tal-ġen, anki rimkom ma kontx nafkom ta', imma li l-bniedem il-valur tiegħu u għandu jkun maħbub u rispettat għal dak li hu mhux għar-riżultati li jikseb, jekk tiġix l-ewwel, jekk iġibx id-deb imma għal-fatt li inti qed tagħmel sport, qed tagħmlu minn qalbek b'ċertu determinazzjoni, b'ċertu sakrifiċċju u dak fih nifsu diġà ammirabbli, ir-riżultat mbagħad ikun ħanejdu hekk bonus.
Of course.
Katrina, Sasha, ma doffi sal-axħar ħanibqa' nħawwa. Gianluca u Beppe, grazzi ħafna li kontu miegħi, grazzi wkoll inti Sasha li ġibt il-friġġ miegħek.
No problem.
U jena u Gianluca għandna ftehim, ġifieri. Għarid niġi fir-range.
il-kamera,
Ġifieri dokumentajni għallum ħan nispara, jew tispara inti.
By the way,
Tajjeb.
bam, bam.
Eżatt. Usma, jekk tintazlu għal Los Angeles u kolkom bżonn xi social media manager jew hekk xi daqqatit ngħidkom naqra fil-PR jiena niġi tajjeb.
Thank you.
Naħseb nagħmlu team b'saħħtu. Infakkarkom li min ixtieq il-programm qiegħed on demand fuq il-pjattaforma tagħna Newsbook TV, fitxu socials tagħna wkoll Facebook RTK103 u fuq Instagram RTK103 għandna wkoll il-paġna ta' By the Way li hija 103 By the Way, faqgħuna follow kollox għal-ġimgħa d-dieħla jiena Gabriel Lija insermilkom.
By the way, jippreżenta Gabriel Lija.